I call the Township of Aleppo Workshop Meeting of June 12th, 2023 to order at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones.
Present.
Vice President Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Dara.
Present.
Commissioner Richard.
Present.
Commissioner Haluka. Present. Solicitor Stone.
Here.
Manager Patterson. Here.
This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the May 15th legislative meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Old business, Planning Commission vacancy.
This is just on here to remind you that you had decided last month that you would like to make an appointment at the June legislative meeting. So it'll be on the agenda next week for an appointment.
So clearly, we've had no other candidates appear.
Correct.
Good. Not good, but good. 2023 paving project update.
Can you give me
sorry.
her name and address over there? The
Sure.
signage wage?
2023 paving project update?
We had the pre-construction meeting with the paving contractor last week, and the basic information so far is that they're looking to do the tar and chip sooner. So we don't have a date for that yet, but that'll be the first project that they complete. And that'll be the Weber Road corridor and McCoy and South McCoy. And we don't yet have the change order adding those three smaller segments of roads, but hopefully that'll come in before they, obviously it has to come in before they do the tar and chip
Vecchio?
next month. Vecchio, Parkway, and Ingleside. Then the next thing that they think they'll complete is the paving of the roads in the ridge. They think that probably will not happen until September, because they're, have a lot of paving jobs lined up. And then the third part of the project that they'll be doing is the parking lot out here at the Township building. There's some drainage corrections that are gonna be done, and then a reconstruction of the parking lot. So that they think will happen after the roads in the ridge. So when that happens, we will have to park over by the garages, and so will all of our visitors while the parking lot's torn up. So we'll make sure that we have kind of as smooth as possible passage to get from that parking lot over to here like we did when people voted over there. And before they do any of the projects, they are planning to put signs up about the week before they start. So the signs saying that this road will be tar and chip next week, and then signs saying that paving should begin next week once they get closer to confirmed dates for those jobs.
I think,
Would you bring to their attention the amount of gravel they're putting on where cars turn? Because I and two other people that I know of fishtailed
Okay.
turning onto Redgate.
Okay. Mhm.
any questions about the paving project? New business, landslide legislation support letter.
We were contacted by Representative Valerie Gatos' office asking for the township to support legislation that they have proposed. It's creating a new plan, but it's adding more to the current land mine subsidence insurance program that they have. This one, they're proposing to add landslide insurance and assistance programs for homeowners as part of that fund. And so they've provided an information sheet about the bill and then some support letter information. So they've requested that the townships and boroughs submit their support for this legislation.
Do we have any properties within Aleppo that have been undermined?
Basically from the maps, we don't have a lot of mines right in this area. It's more kind of South Hills and some other areas, but the clay soils that we have here are the landslide prone soils.
If you look up the county has a mapping of landslide prone areas. Okay, and the parts of Aleppo fall within historic landslide areas that are known to the county to be landslide prone.
I just wanted to make sure that if we were supporting legislation, we were supporting a legislation because it had impact on us not just supporting it politically.
Well, yeah, and you'll recall several years ago,
Yes, it was the birth of your emergency management coordinator. So I do recall.
you do
Was
recall.
this insurance that the township would purchase or for private property owners?
Private property owners.
That's the way I read it too, is that it's a, like a mine subsidence insurance, they have a program that you can buy into if you houses on.
They're
mine.
shoring up, they're actually shoring up an existing, program that doesn't have a lot of money in it. And they're shoring it up and then having it paid for by private fundings that would purchase the insurance, which would mitigate the impact on, tax revenue. So it's just it's the initial tax revenue that they're trying to get through to shore up an already existing program that they're making some changes to and that
Like
they're.
a mine subsidence program?
Yes, yes. And it's a privately funded by insurance purchase, but they're shoring it up with, I forget what the amount is, it actually isn't a lot of money. But they're shoring it up with taxpayer dollars and then backing off in the hopes that it would be privately funded going forward. I believe that's my understanding of it anyway.
The draft support letter is in your packet. And it does reference the landslide we did have that was impacting a potential major water line.
Gas line.
and
Both.
gas- And gas line.
Yeah.
Gas.
Any
So
further?
do you have any, is it okay to send these letters? Do you wanna, because it'll be coming from, George would sign them, but they were coming from the board, so, you know.
We need to send it in now, or can we wait till next week?
You could probably wait till next week. Want me to put it on the agenda for next
Give
week?
everybody a chance to read it if you
Yeah.
have any comments.
Sure.
I think there was a deadline. Why don't we caveat that? If we go past the deadline, if we wait until next week, send it.
Sounds good.
So if you have any changes, send them quickly. Road salt contract storage addendum.
The past winter was very mild, and so we are contractually obligated to purchase 80% of our submitted tonnage that we agree to purchase every year. And we did not purchase all of it, and our storage building is full, and this was, a lot of the municipalities in the area had the same problem. So Cargill has agreed to allow us to extend the deadline for purchasing the salt through December. If we don't purchase it by December, then there'll be a $10 per ton storage surcharge on it. We still have to buy it, so even if we don't buy it by December 31st, we would still be obligated to buy that before then we started purchasing the next year's allocation. So we think that we'll probably have something in the fall to pull down some of the supplies in the building. And then we adjusted our estimate of purchase for the following year to make up for the fact that we still owe, we have to purchase 160 tons off of this contract. So they just need a contract amendment to approve that we understand the agreement that buy it or get charged $10.
I reviewed it, and basically, it's an extension within which time you get the opportunity to purchase the salt. So it's in your favor. It benefits the purchaser.
And it's a reasonable amount. $10 a ton.
You're talking about what, $1,600?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Stormwater detention ponds.
So the township, in the last couple of years, has been just trying to inventory the things that we have in the township and things that may have been in long ago plans. We're just trying to get, better handle on what's out there, things that may have been approved in a development in the 70s that no one's really aware of. So a couple of years ago, the engineers and the public works crews went out and located and tried to inventory all of the privately owned stormwater ponds throughout the township. We have several in the industrial park, there's one in the manor, and so they inspected a lot of them. There's even one right across the street, you can see that one, it's like clear and wide open, it used to be overgrown. Inspected a lot of them and then sent out letters to ones that were overgrown, saying, you need to clear your overgrowth and clean out the silt that's clogging all the intake pipes. And so we've been working with different pond owners to get that done. The engineers go out and inspect it and then say, okay, a little bit more, it looks great. And we've So the ponds so far, the people that we've contacted are in various stages of completing their work.
And then both in person and by email, a board member at Strictly Heights Manor asked me if the township could help to pay for the maintenance of the pond there. And Gwen Harlan and I have discussed it, but I'd like Gwen to state her position.
Well, we just, I mean, from what I understand legally, we just don't do work on private property. The township doesn't spend township funds maintaining private infrastructure and property. And we did not assist with this, the cleaning of this pond here. There's one that's in progress on Overlook, and we did not assist with that. We just send the engineer out to inspect and, you know, say, oh, we need do a little bit of this, maybe a little advice on what they need to do to complete it, but we don't do the work there.
I think that's an all or nothing. You either do them all or you do nothing.
That's, yeah.
Would you like to add to that, Mr. Solicitor?
No, I think that was well stated by the manager, that the use of public funds, taxpayer money on private improvements is generally not something that's advisable or permissible.
And to elaborate on Gwen's second comment, there is no problem with our public works people and engineer in helping to better define the problem and to assist in the maintenance plan.
Yeah, I think that's at a different level of participation or assistance.
So Gwen is in the process of composing a letter to send to the manor describing what we just discussed.
Obviously, on the second point, public health, safety, and welfare is implicated, and so that level of participation seems to me to be understandable, whereas if someone comes and says, you know, build me a new garage, you know, again, that's an example of we wouldn't spend money on somebody's private property to improve it where it was public funding.
Doesn't that retention pond and the manor service the roads, which are publicly owned?
I don't know what its purpose is or what it was when it was constructed, but again, I still think you have an issue. Well, you have a couple issues, but you do have an issue when you spend public funds on private improvements.
That pond was part of the approved plan for the development of the ridge. So when the developers of the ridge came in and said, we want to construct houses and roads and stuff, stormwater detention is part of that development plan, and so it was part of the approved plan, was having that stormwater, that pond, or to manage the runoff from all the houses and driveways and construction and everything up there.
And I think all of these, to some extent, when they were part of the development plan that was approved, they were some of them were probably required under the Stormwater Management Act and the revised Stormwater Management Act. Some of them probably predate the Pennsylvania Stormwater Management Act. So I'm not familiar with the details of this one, Commissioner Dara, but my guess is they all were all approved because they had some relationship to stormwater runoff that protected a street or protected some aspect of public infrastructure, but we still don't maintain them.
I think in general, stormwater has attracted more attention in the last 5 years. And when I talked to the engineer the other day, he did say that there is increased liability because with the severity of storms, should the stormwater retention pond not function and private property is damaged, then for not enforcing the maintenance, we become liable, as well as the manor.
For not enforcing the maintenance, but not for not doing the maintenance.
Correct. Okay, any further discussion on that? I don't think we need a vote. Gwen, you can just
I'll just summarize
finish the
this.
letter. Would anyone like to see the letter before it's sent? And you can send it. Do we have any other citizen participation, communication?
No. Nope, and no one, no, empty audience.
Any other new business?
I'll chime,
Oh.
I did get an email today confirming from another resident at the corner of McCoy and Glen Mitchell, saying, yes, I've been following the discussion that we're trying to get ahold of the county, and everyone agrees that that intersection needs some visibility assistance. So
I saw
just
the
yet
speed-
another one chiming in saying yes.
I saw the speed sign come up. Have we had any patrols?
We have asked for some increased patrols in a few spots around the township, so I'm not sure when or where they're gonna do it, because they don't like to tell you in advance.
Good. Anything else? We're adjourned.